Last episode ended with a bit of a cliffhanger. Why was the Head of Bight closed?
And in this episode, we pick up right there and finally find out what's going on.
From there, we stop in at the iconic Nullarbor Roadhouse
before heading off the highway to check out the Marowigini Caves.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh. I wouldn't suggest that to anybody. Don't do that. And then we head over to Scenic Lookout number 1 to get our first free epic view of the Bunda Cliffs.
But the real adventure begins when we turn off the highway and head 18 kilometres into the Outback to camp at Koonalda Station,
where we explore the ruins of the old homestead and check out the Koonalda Cave.
And let's just say, we weren't exactly blown away. Oh well, that's enough.
I'm going back to the van.
Alright.
So sit down, grab yourself a coffee.
Or maybe some snacks.
Get comfy because this episode you don't want to miss. Well, we just rocked up and definitely not what we were expecting to see.
No. We were not expecting Head of Bight to be closed due to extreme weather conditions.
Yeah, it's 44 degrees and it is pretty damn windy, but yeah, they've just got a sign on the gate that says closed due to extreme heat. Yep. And that's all we know at the moment. So we've just set the van up though, so we're just going to sit down and have some lunch and figure out what we're going to do now because our plans have changed. So
well, not really.
Wow.
We don't have plans, let's face it.
But hey, this is all part and parcel of being on the road and sometimes stuff happens. So
yes.
Anyways, we're going to have lunch and we'll talk to you later.
While we figured out what our plans were going to be, the sky completely stole the show. Glowing with the most incredible colours of purple, pink, orange and red, it was one of those sunsets you just didn't want to end.
But as the last light dipped below the horizon, the weather took yet another turn. The wind picked up, the clouds rolled in, and we were forced into bunkering down for the night, waiting to see what the next day would bring. Hopefully, we'd finally be able to head out to see the Head of Bight. Well, unfortunately, we've woken up to some less than ideal weather, which is a bit of a carry-on from last night. It was one of those nights where the wind just kept on going and going and going. We tried to position ourselves in nicely next to the shelter to try and block out some of the wind, but it was just swirling around and carrying on, and yeah, Jess slept alright though.
Yeah, I always sleep well.
Yeah, she was out at like 9 o'clock at night and just stayed asleep, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the weather today's not great. They have opened up the Head of Bight, so we could go down there if we wanted to, but I just don't think it's going to be worth doing it today.
Not on the edge of a cliff, in 40k an hour winds. It's probably not the smartest idea.
If you know anything about Jess, she absolutely hates sitting around and not doing anything. So it was only about 30 minutes later before Jess got sick of sitting in the van all day, and the decision was made to brave the elements, head out and take a look at the Head of Bight. And you know what? We're glad we did. Just a short 12-kilometre drive from the free camp brings you to the Head of Bight Visitor Centre. There's plenty of parking, with ample space for caravans and larger setups, making it an easy spot to stop for travellers crossing the Nullarbor. Even before stepping inside, you'll find a series of detailed information panels. They dive into the fascinating geology of the Bunda Cliffs, the deep Aboriginal cultural connections to the land, and the incredible wildlife that calls this remote coastline home.
Inside the centre, there's a cafe, a small gift shop, and even more displays to explore. But the real highlight lies beyond the doors.
Well, we've decided to head out from the caravan for the day.
Yeah, we've decided to brave the elements.
Yeah, it's less than 20 degrees out here at the moment, which isn't too bad, but it's a shock when it was only 44 a couple of days ago. So
yeah.
Where are we, Jess?
We are currently at the Head of Bight.
Yep.
So we paid the $10 per adult to come out and go for a 1.2 kilometre walk to have a look over the ocean.
Yeah, so 1.2 kilometres, $10 off season.
Oh yeah.
I think it's $20 on season when the whales are here.
Yeah.
We're about 2 months too early for those, but that's okay. It's still going to be pretty to look around at, all the cliffs and all the ocean, and just say that we've been out here. So
yeah,
looking forward to it. But yeah, that rain over there looks like it's coming through. So
It does.
We might be perching up on one of these shelters for a little bit in a minute, but we'll see what happens.
There's a few shelters here just to sit and have a view.
Yep, get out of the rain, get out of the elements. Here's one, amusingly, right there. Anyways, we'll get on with it and have a walk around and show you what it's all about.
See ya. A network of elevated boardwalks stretches out across the dunes, leading to purpose-built viewing platforms with breathtaking views over the Southern Ocean. From June to October, this spot becomes one of the best places in the country to witness southern right whales as they return to these calm, sheltered waters to give birth and nurse their young. Sadly for us, visiting in March meant we were a little too early for the show.
While we might not have hit the most perfect conditions, I would actually hesitate to argue that these conditions are more incredible, if anything.
That's right. Yes, it's overcast.
Yeah.
The sun is trying to peek through the clouds.
It is.
But the waves, like the ferocity of the waves hitting those cliffs is just next level insane. It's really cool.
It is. It's really, really cool to see. And again, of course, if you're heading from east to west, this is the first chance to get a glimpse of the Bunda Cliffs, the famous Bunda Cliffs, and they do stand up to everything that everybody says about them. They are unreal.
Is it Bunda or Bunda?
I'm not too sure, so I'm just going to keep saying Bunda Cliffs.
We got into a habit.
Anyways, we're going to spend a few more minutes here just having a little bit of a look around before we head on out. Unfortunately, our time at the Head of Bight was cut short when the weather rolled back in, so we made our way back to the free camp and bunkered down for the night once again.
But in the morning, the skies had cleared, the wind had eased, and we were welcomed by a golden sunrise stretching across the horizon, just the kind of fresh start we were hoping for.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, yesterday turned out to be one of the most windy days we've actually had since getting here to the Head of Bight, unfortunately.
Yeah, it started off all right.
It did.
And then by the time we got back to camp and had a bit of lunch, we were like, a bit too windy to bother going any further. So we decided to stay at the Head of Bight camp one more night.
Yeah, it was just one of those things, you know, like from a safety point of view, there was no point in hitching the van up and trying to push through the wind that we had, and just also from a fuel economy point of view, there was no point punching into that head/crosswind. So, however, we're up this morning and it was an absolute beautiful sunrise. It was a little bit chilly this morning actually, but it's shaping up to be a cracker of a day today. So we are going to get the van hitched up, we are going to get on the move, and we have plenty of things to see across the Nullarbor today.
We sure do.
So we're going to take you guys along and go look at all these different caves and that sort of thing and show you what we think will hopefully be an epic campsite tonight.
Hopefully.
All right, let's get hitched up.
Let's do it. First destination.
Yeah, so we're only like less than 5 k's out from camp, and there's this little spot called Whitewell's Cave, I don't really know too much about it at the moment, so I'm going to have to do some more research about it. But what I will do is probably stop walking because it's literally right there and I do not want to fall into it. But yeah, this is the first of quite a few little caves that we're going to see for today. So very, very interesting. It's huge. Well, it's not huge, but it's definitely a lot
Bigger than
I expected. I tell you what. Oh, okay. Yeah, it goes down a fair way.
So I'm back by the car. We get down to the cave and Alan looks in and goes, I want to drop the drone into it. And I was like, yeah, cool. Nah, I can't deal with that. So I'm just by the car because I get too stressed out with the drone flying around anywhere. I have full faith in Alan, but yeah, it just freaks me out when he gets too close to anything. And the cave's not massive. It's big enough to put the drone in. So we'll see what he comes back with, but he's currently sitting standing right next to the hole. And the temptation for me to go and push him in is real right now. Like, pretty real. But I'm going to stay well a ways because I don't want to get in the way and freak him out. Because I want our footage.
Yeah, look, thanks for not pushing me into the hole, Jess. I really appreciate it. Whitewell's Cave is just one of over 1,000 caves on the Nullarbor Plain that has been mapped so far. The name, Whitewell's Cave, comes from the natural rock holes that collect water in the area, providing a crucial source of hydration in this arid region. These caves support unique ecosystems with species like the giant blind cockroach and cave spiders that have specifically adapted to life in total darkness. It's a reminder of how resilient nature can be in such an extreme environment.
After finishing up at Whitewell's Cave, we made the short 10-kilometre drive to the Nullarbor Roadhouse.
This place is a real Outback icon. Remote, rugged, and a welcome sight for anyone crossing the Nullarbor Plain.
Back in 1956, the station manager started selling fuel to travellers braving the rough gravel roads through this region.
But it wasn't until 1976, when the air highway was fully sealed, that the original roadhouse was built to properly serve the growing flow of traffic.
The current building you see today came along in the 1990s, adding more modern facilities to meet the needs of today's travellers.
Fuel was sitting at $2.82 a litre for diesel when we visited, easily the most expensive of the whole crossing, so no, we didn't fill up here.
But it's still a must-stop spot. Grab a bite, stretch your legs, and take in that unique Outback Roadhouse vibe.
Stops like this are more than just for fuel and food. They are a reminder of how remote and incredible this journey really is. Just out the back of the Nullarbor Roadhouse is a set of 3 caves that we've heard about and Jess has done a little bit of reading about. So we're going to head out and have a look at those.
We call them the M Caves because we can't really pronounce the proper name. Marowigini?
Yeah, we'll show you the sign in a second. I was just trying to read it from here, but yeah. So it's only like 10 and a bit k's out to the furthest point. We did have a little bit of a chat to the people in the roadhouse and they said that we should be okay taking the car and caravan out. Apparently it's just a bit dusty and a bit rocky, but that's fine. We'll see how it goes and report back from there. But I think we'll just kick the dust reduction system on in the van and head on out and see what happens.
Yeah. The wind's just started to pick up.
Wind has picked up a bit, so we'll see how we go.
This was a bit unexpected, wasn't it?
Well, it was, but not, because I knew we were driving out to see caves.
Yeah, but it's huge.
It is, and this is supposedly not the most exciting one, but so far it already looks pretty exciting, but it's a lot bigger than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's huge. Absolutely massive. I'll show you in a sec.
Yeah, have a little bit of a look-see. Looks cool.
So Alan was just like, where's the way down?
Yeah, because there's lots of human footprints and stuff down the bottom and tracks and that. So I thought, well, there's obviously got to be a way down there.
He's just over there, we think.
Yeah, it looks like a very dodgy way down, but I'm keen to have a look. Not
We'll
making
see.
any promises that I go down there, but we'll see. Yeah.
Good job.
Oh. I wouldn't suggest that to anybody. Don't do that. Are you coming down?
Maybe. We'll see.
I'll be able to help you from down here.
Yeah. All right.
Getting back up's going to be the issue.
Really?
Yeah. The Murrawijinie Caves are one of the few that are still open to the public, offering a rare glimpse into the ancient underground world of the Nullarbor Plain. This is the hardest of the 3 caves to access, but the effort is well worth it. The main entrance is a collapsed cave feature typical of the region's landscape. Inside, the limestone formations have been shaped by millions of years of water erosion, and the cave remains cool all year round, offering a welcome escape from the heat of the Nullarbor above.
So Alan did get out of the first cave.
Yeah, I did. It was a bit of a climb, but I'm out. And we've just driven down to the second one, which is all of like a couple of 100 metres down the road. And then the third one is just 100 metres down that way. But this one, I don't think I'm going to go down into because, I don't know, I probably could actually, but yeah, the camera's not going to show it. It just goes down and down and down into the dark down there, like a long way.
Actually probably could get in there, hey?
Probably can. I just said I wasn't going to do it, and now you've said that. But we know that you can get into the third one. The third one, apparently, you can just walk on into, so. Oh, you can just walk down there. You can come in this one.
Okay.
Nice work.
Thanks.
Didn't want to miss out, did you?
No. I had FOMO after the other one, but
What do you reckon?
this is pretty cool.
It is. It's huge.
It's massive.
As you step into this cave, you can tell right away that it's much more open and deeper. The entrance is also a lot easier compared to the first cave.
Once you're inside, you begin descending further towards the bottom. The space opens up the deeper you go, and the ceiling stretches high above. At the base, smaller tunnels dart off in different directions, each leading into its own mysterious section of the underground cave system that stretches across the Nullarbor.
I'm not going to go down there, but down here there's like a little chute and it just disappears into complete pitch black darkness down there. And even up here, I've just noticed there's like this little pathway type thing. And again, it's just, yeah, I don't know what's down in there, but it's creepy looking. Very creepy looking.
We are at cave number 3.
Which doesn't look as appealing from the top, but according to the very, very small amount of research, this one's the easiest to get in and out of. Not so sure I believe that myself, but again, we'll have a look.
Those bushes are very creepy too. There's meant to be hand paintings in this one,
Oh, is that this one, is it?
apparently.
Alright, we'll see if we can, see if we can't find them.
Inside, the cave feels smaller and more intimate compared to the last. The floor is uneven, with jagged limestone formations creating unique shapes and a significant drop leading down to the main chamber.
Definitely the easiest of the 3 to get to the bottom of.
You sure?
Yeah, it's just one giant, huge open cabin down here.
Wait up, I'm coming.
Righty.
What's fascinating about this cave is the presence of Aboriginal hand stencils inside. They were created by blowing ochre pigment over a hand pressed to the wall in an ancient technique that's lasted for thousands of years. The cave's name, Murrawijinie, even translates to bloody hands. a nod to these markings and the cultural stories that they carry.
Exploring this cave, you get the sense that there's much more to discover beneath the surface, both in terms of its natural formations and its cultural significance.
We figured while we're out here, we may as well just have a quick bite to eat. So Jess has just whipped up some chicken coleslaw salad wraps for us, which is great. I've already started munching on mine.
Same.
And we're just going to have a quick coffee and chill out here for a little bit before hitting the road again.
Look, it's 10 kilometres back out.
Yeah.
It definitely took us quite a while,
Yeah.
a bit over an hour to get out here.
That was stopping and looking around and recording and all of that sort of thing. But it's well and truly worth a detour out here. We really enjoyed coming out to these caves. So if you can, yeah, for sure, come out and have a look. Recommend it. But also, just a side note, these little coffee bags, absolutely fantastic for traveling and all that sort of thing. You just pour hot water into them and away you go, you've got coffee. And it's decent coffee too, it's not instant or anything. So
yeah,
definitely recommend those coffee bags from Grounded Drops. Anyways, it looks like you've already taken more of that, so.
I'm hungry.
Cheers.
We're just getting back to the Nullarbor Roadhouse from the Murrawijinie Cave drive. And I just posed to Alan, if, in hindsight, would you have taken the caravan down there, or would you have left it at the Nullarbor Roadhouse and gone without the van? Alan?
My answer's very simple. There's no real reason to take the van out. Back in the day, you used to be allowed to camp out there and stuff like that, so that's the only reason that you would take the van out. But now I would probably just ask the guys at the Roadhouse if you can either leave it at the Roadhouse or put it in the caravan park at the Roadhouse or something like that, because you'll be able to do the track in half the time that it takes with the van on the back.
Yeah.
But now we are, like Jess said, we're back at the Roadhouse now, so we're going to jump back onto the main air highway and head off towards camp.
Yep.
I think there's like one more thing to do on the way to camp, unless I'm mistaken.
Maybe one or two.
Maybe
Depends
one or
on
two
how
more
we
things.
feel.
Yeah. So either way, we're going to jump back on the bitumen and lay down some Ks and get heading west.
After leaving the Nullarbor Roadhouse, we kept heading west. About 75 kilometres down the road, we made a stop at Bunda Cliffs Scenic Lookout number 1, and it didn't take long to understand why this spot is one of the top draw cards for anyone crossing the Nullarbor. The Bunda Cliffs stretch over 200 kilometres along the Great Australian Bight, offering some of the most dramatic coastal views you could imagine. Rising up to 120 metres above the Southern Ocean, these cliffs are made of fossil-rich limestone that is slowly eroding away over time. Down below, the water is an incredible shade of blue and turquoise thanks to the limestone washing off the cliffs and into the ocean. The mineral-rich water only adds to the vibrant colours, making it all even more striking. Standing there, taking in the size of the cliffs and the vast, wild coastline, you really get a sense of just how extraordinary and remote this place is.
Well, after a short stint on the Blacktop and a stop off at a beautiful scenic lookout over the Bunda Cliffs, shock horror, we're back on the dirt.
That's right, we did forget to put the dust reduction system on at first.
Yeah.
So we had to pull over and turn that one on.
Yeah, thankfully there was like pretty much no dust inside, but it's always better to have it on to be safe than sorry. It's only a 13-kilometre detour into this particular campground off the main road.
Which is pretty rough.
Yeah, it's not like air down rough or anything like that. It's just a
More rocky
sort of dirt road than anything else, nothing special. But yeah, so 13 k's in, we'll get in there and show you around the place and tell you a bit about it and all that sort of thing when we get there. We were actually here a few months ago, so we know the place, and that's why we wanted to come back to it, because we really enjoyed our time out here last time.
Yep.
But yeah, for now we'll just get this 13k's knocked out and see you when we get there. After a big day on the road, we arrived at Koonalda Homestead, which is nestled in the heart of the Nullarbor National Park.
This place has such a rich history. It was once a thriving sheep station and an important stop for travellers crossing the Nullarbor Plain. Although it was abandoned in 1976 when the air highway was sealed, it now offers a unique camping experience.
And for $14.50 per vehicle is a perfect spot to unwind after a long day.
However, by the time we got ourselves organised, the day had slipped away, and it was already time for dinner and bed.
But we're really looking forward to tomorrow. There's so much to explore around the homestead and the surrounding station. We can't wait to uncover more of its history and natural beauty. As dawn breaks over the Nullarbor Plain, the soft light reveals a haunting sight. A graveyard of rusted vehicles scattered across the landscape. These abandoned cars, remnants of a bygone era, tell silent stories of travellers who once braved the old air highway. Mechanical failures were common on the treacherous route, and many vehicles were left behind, succumbing to the relentless elements. Now, they stand as corroded monuments to the challenges of crossing this vast expanse.
Moving past the skeletal remains of these automobiles, the exterior of Koonalda Homestead comes into view. Constructed in the 1930s from repurposed railway sleepers and demolition materials, the homestead's weathered walls and corrugated iron roof bear the marks of time and isolation. Once a vital sheep station, and later a roadhouse for weary travellers, its facade now stands as a testament to the resilience required to survive in such an unforgiving environment.
Stepping inside, the air is thick with history. The interior, though aged and worn, offers glimpses into the daily lives of its former inhabitants. Faded curtains flutter in the breeze, and the creak of wooden floorboards echoes throughout the empty rooms. The remnants of a once bustling kitchen and living area evoke a sense of nostalgia, painting vivid pictures of communal meals and shared stories.
Just outside, an old petrol bowser stands as a relic of the homestead's days as a refuelling stop along the original air highway. The faded shell emblem and rusting pump serve as reminders of a time when Koonalda offered essential services to those making the arduous journey across the Nullarbor. This solitary sentinel now watches over the deserted grounds, symbolising the inevitable march of progress that led to the homestead's decline.
As the morning sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across the plain, Koonalda Homestead stands as a poignant reminder of human endeavour and endurance. Each abandoned car, each weathered wall, whispered stories of the past, inviting us to reflect on the relentless passage of time and the transient nature of our endeavours. Well, that sunrise and walk around the grounds was absolutely amazing way to start the day.
Sure was.
Really interesting history around this place. So much so that we've actually unhitched the car and gone for a drive. Admittedly, this is only 300 metres from the campground, but it's the old shearing shed. So we're going to spend a little bit of time looking around here as well. And then we're going to jump in the car and go about 6 or 7 Ks up the road, which takes us out to Koonalda Cave as well. So
we haven't been out there yet.
No.
So we don't know much about it.
No.
I think there's a sinkhole as well on the way through.
Yeah, cool. All right, so well, that's our morning planned out. And as always, we'll take you guys along and show you whatever it is that we see.
Yes, we will.
After having a look around the shearing shed, we jumped back in the car to do the 6-kilometre drive out to Koonalda Caves. The drive out was an unmaintained dirt track, but nothing too complicated other than a little bit of bull dust. As we got closer to the cave though, we noticed some security cameras which we thought was a little bit strange, but we continued on.
So we've just driven the 6 kilometres from Koonalda Homestead to the Koonalda Cave.
Yeah.
And we've come across this sign.
So all for it being a National Heritage listed, and it says that you can't go in. So then why is there this little platform thing that says that you can go in, but then there is a big pole over there which is absolutely covered in cameras. And on the way in here, we actually went through like 2 or 3 other poles that were covered in cameras as well. And it's supposedly to monitor for illegal access. So you're allowed to walk around the fence, but you can't actually see anything.
You can't see anything from the fence line.
We've just done a walk around and yeah.
I look at it and I go, cool, it's a big hole. Yeah, I don't know much about it. Granted, I didn't do any research about it, so probably should have looked up as to whether we could actually go at least get closer to the edge to see what it's all about. Yeah.
Like they've actually got cameras inside the cave underneath the lip. So even if somebody was to go over the fence and have a look, there is cameras in under there monitoring us.
It's just, look, it's a bit disappointing, really.
Yeah.
The fact that they actually have to have cameras too.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I do get that.
Oh, I think it's a bit much, but
yeah.
So yeah, overall, it looks like it would be a cool cave, but yeah, we can't say anything about it because we can't see anything.
Pretty much.
I mean, I don't need to go in or anything like that. It would just be nice to
just stand just there on the edge.
Yeah, but also if they've gone to the effort of making a big car park area with a table up the top and everything and putting all these cameras and everything in, why not at least put a board up with some information so we know what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh well, that's enough.
I'm going back to the van.
All right.
After what was still a great stay at Koonalda Station, we headed back to camp, hitched up the van and got back on the road. We were really looking forward to our next iconic camp spot, which was supposed to be one of our favourite camps crossing the Nullarbor. Unfortunately though, things just didn't go as planned and we couldn't stay there. Want to know where it was? Well, you're going to have to wait until next episode, so make sure to subscribe and you won't miss out.
It felt like the rain was chasing us and the wind just wouldn't leave us alone, but somehow we were still smiling the whole way. And yep, we finally made it into WA. Hit subscribe and come along for the ride next episode. It's sure going to be a wild one.